Welcome to the Positive Sports Podcast. I'll be your host this evening, Raspy Ronnie McGee, also known as Ed Montana. Freaking sick as a dog.
I can tell.
If I were you, I wouldn't sit this close. This may be one that you may want to let me do by myself, but if you manage to survive alongside me today, my not sick, soon to be sick, and then hating me brother, Alex. Alex, how you doing?
I was gonna say, you need to take that clothespin off your nose. I mean, you sound rough,
dude. I have been sick for a week, and it comes and goes. So like I had a real raspy sore throat for a few days, and that's getting better. But now the congestion, I mean, my head feels like one big
balloon. A balloon of a snot? Or
yeah.
A snot of a
like
balloon?
If I tried to whistle, I'd make a bubble.
Now that might get us views. Why don't you go ahead and try that real quick?
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, so my wife just called me, and I'm pretty sure you just heard the conversation. And, so I came straight from work to your house, to the studio. Mm-hmm. And, I called the kids on my way here just to make sure everything is tight, the roof is not on fire, and they're not trying to drown each other and kill each other. So, all right, so I made all those checks, everything's good, and then she calls me, and she's like, well, she's getting out of work, and she's like, she just starts kind of just rambling about, that she just called the kids to make sure that they're okay, and I'm trying to get it out that, I already did that, but she's just going,
she's not listening.
And then she says she's gonna go out to the bar to have a drink. I'm like, well, just make sure you have a drink, go back home. And then I just said it hoping that she would say okay, bye. And even though I mentioned to her before that I'm about to pod, she just keeps talking. I'm like, look, just go have as many drinks as you want, it's all good, I gotta go. I'm like,
I don't know,
as a guy,
I don't know if it's your phone. And I mean, obviously, I know your wife, and I've talked to her. She doesn't sound like this in real life, but I swear it's either the volume on your phone or maybe she was hopped up on coffee or something. But she sounded like one of those cartoon wives. And she was talking a mile a minute. So she must have been hopped up on speed or something. But
I think most married men would probably agree with you.
That everyone's wife sounds like that?
He said it, not me.
I mean, I wouldn't be surprised, but...
Hey, you know what? I just thought about this.
Yeah.
Come the next episode, right? This is podcast 70, in case we forgot. I almost did.
Episode 70.
Episode 70.
Capítulo 70.
Come
Spanish-speaking audience.
Come episode 71, I'm going to be $5 richer.
No,
I can't believe it. I can't believe
Absolutely not.
The Charlotte Hornets are fighting for the very last spot.
But they're not gonna make it.
Well, I mean, the Pistons are fighting too. They might not make it. 2 games left. Do you know that the Hornets have swept the season series with the Pistons?
Is that the tiebreaker? Is head-to-head the tiebreaker?
I hope it is, because I mean,
no, I don't think it is.
The Pistons 3-7 in their last 10. The Hornets 7-3 in their last 10. I mean, Kemba Walker averaging close to 30 points a game in that span.
He's had a great season.
He's had a very good season. Does he stay in Charlotte? I mean, what is Charlotte? This is a great question. Michael Jordan, the GM, the owner. Well, I don't know if he's the GM, but I'm sure he's got some. He's got his hands.
Got some ownership stake in there.
What is he gonna do? He can't let, waste a year of Kemba Walker.
He can't let Kemba Walker walk?
Yeah, pretty much.
I don't think he's got a choice. Again, it comes down to the same question that we got into this discussion about Anthony Davis last week. What do they want to do? These NBA guys, they want to go play with other big name players because that brings them closer to a championship, and that seems like that is almost more important to them than the money. Even though their current team is the one that can really offer them the big max deal, and it's a considerable difference. The attitude seems to be, but if I can get with a big star and be in a big city, and get the exposure of being in the playoffs and possibly making a run at the title, that will make up for the difference in dollars, and I'm winning, which is better than scraping by.
Well, I mean, they need a lot of pieces to really get
Charlotte does, but so it comes down to Kemba Walker, right? What does he want to do? Does he want the biggest deal he can get, in which case he stays in Charlotte, continues to be the star, and struggles to get into the playoffs every year? Or does he, listen to LeBron James and maybe go out to LA, or listen to Russell Westbrook and go out to OKC, or whatever team's trying to, the Knicks, who knows?
Yeah, I think Walker, like Damian Lillard, Lillard has shown that he's loyal to the Blazers and he's willing to stay there. It seems to me that Kemba Walker's the same way. I just wish they would put some pieces around him. Like I said, they still have, they can add one superstar, but that won't be enough to compete for them. But in 2 games, they're gonna be the number 8 seed. It's gonna happen.
They're not gonna make it.
It's gonna happen.
Detroit's gonna cinch up that last spot.
Yeah, I don't know.
Orlando's the 7th seed. They're gonna win their division.
How does that happen?
It's a really bad division. It's got Orlando, Charlotte, Miami,
Atlanta.
and Atlanta.
I think. Wow. It kind of sucks that Wade won't be in the playoffs this year.
He's got a chance. He's only 1 game out of a playoff spot as well.
I think they're officially eliminated.
Nope.
No?
So Detroit is at 39-41. They're the 8th seed. Charlotte 38-42, Miami 38-42. They're 1 game back. So they have to go 2-0 and Detroit 1-1, or 1-1 and Detroit 0-2. Detroit's got it really easy. I think Detroit's got like the Cavs and the Knicks.
That's the same thing the Pistons had. The Hornets got the Cavs and...
I thought the Pistons had the Cavs and the Knicks. The Hornets play Orlando.
Or Orlando and Cavs. That's
Which
what it is.
Not, I mean...
Orlando already clinched. They can rest their starters, man.
How funny would it be if that's how they got in?
So...
my bad. The Pistons have Memphis and the Knicks, which is about as easy.
They're going to lose to Memphis.
I don't think so.
Charlotte Pistons haven't been playing too well.
No, they haven't, but...
Hence the 3-7 record.
Memphis is terrible.
And
every team plays tomorrow and Wednesday. So, the Knicks on the back-to-back game will be worthless.
Memphis, but a team like that, a team like the Cavs, the Memphis, and the Knicks, you got to watch out for them here in like the last 2 weeks, because you got, the players are playing to show that they either want to stay on the team, that they're worth keeping. So you might get the best games out of the worst teams sometimes late in the season.
Yeah, but most of the time what you're going to get is, you start to choke and keep those teams in the game. And most of the time that's what happens, right? When you get to these last 2 games of the season and you got a team like the Knicks, or the Cavs. Sometimes you got guys that are playing hard, but for the most part, you're fighting for a playoff spot and you choke. You have a bad shooting night, and that's the end of you. The Charlotte has Cleveland and Orlando, and then Miami has, I believe, the Sixers and Brooklyn. Ew, that's tough for Miami.
Yeah.
Miami's got the toughest out of the 3 of them.
That's probably why I didn't know I thought they were eliminated already. So.
And I guess, Orlando's in, and it doesn't make a difference if they win their division or not. They're the 7th seed. They're battling Brooklyn for the 6th seed, which would be the difference between playing Toronto or the Sixers. I don't know that it really makes a difference to them, but...
Well, you want to play I'm looking at it from a Nets perspective. I want to play the Sixers. I don't think the Nets will beat the Sixers, but that's the team I'd rather play. Absolutely.
I think if I'm Orlando, I don't see that it's any easier for Orlando or Brooklyn to play Toronto or the Sixers. I think they're both equally difficult.
Yeah, I mean Orlando. Look, it's a pretty weak Eastern Conference. There's two. There's two. Elite teams. Then I think you have a tier. That's one tier. Then you have the 76ers in the next tier. Then you have kind of like the middle teams, Indiana, Boston. I feel like Brooklyn is right there, but not quite. And then you have, the next tier, which would be Brooklyn and Orlando and, whatever. But
I kind of disagree with you. I think look, Milwaukee doesn't have a ton of playoff experience. Toronto has shown themselves to be playoff unreliable. I think the Sixers are a good basketball team. I think they probably learned a lot from last year. They had that tough series with the Celtics. I think that they're going to be very formidable to anyone in the playoffs, including Toronto and Milwaukee. And the Celtics, I still think, are the most talented team out of the four. If they somehow get right,
yeah, that ain't happening.
Which, we've been waiting all year. But I wouldn't rule it out either. Like
I do.
On a talent perspective, I wouldn't be surprised if Boston makes a run here and makes it to the finals. The Pacers, I think, are... So I put those four kind of in one category. Then I've got the Pacers and Brooklyn kind of in the next category. Not because they're equals so much as Indiana without Oladipo is a different team. And it's tough for them, I think, to win a series. It's going to be tough for them to win a series. And then, so I actually put Brooklyn kind of ahead of Orlando, Charlotte, Miami, Detroit. And then I think you've got those four that I think, quite frankly, to me, don't even really deserve to be in the playoffs. Yeah. But for the fact that you got to put 8 teams in the playoffs.
Yeah, at this point, maybe at the All-Star break, but at this point, I can't put Boston or the Pacers in the same category as the Sixers and Toronto and Milwaukee, only because we're towards
just to be clear, I'm not putting Indiana in that category.
No, I understand.
Okay.
But you did Boston and Boston.
Yeah, no. You said Boston and Indiana, and I just want to be clear.
Yes,
I'm not putting Indiana in that category.
I said Indiana because they're up there. But I mean, it's taken 82 games and they haven't figured it out. They're just not. I don't think they're capable of beating either of those 3 teams.
This is a situation where having the expanded playoffs may actually help Boston because they may go 6 games with Indiana and they may figure something out. I don't think this is the time to figure it out, and I agree with you. I don't think it's likely to happen. But it's because think about it. If it was just 4 and they had to go in and play Milwaukee, that's a tough way to try to figure it out.
I hope Boston doesn't make it. They need to blow it up. Danny Ainge,
they're going to make the playoffs.
Really, no, but I hope they don't get first round and out because Danny Ainge, I feel like he doesn't know what the hell in what direction he wants that team to go. You have all these draft picks. You have all these players that they can play, they ball, but you just haven't found the right mesh.
Yeah, the chemistry just has never been quite right.
And so now you're fooling around with Anthony Davis possibly, and it's just you're gonna have another top 10 pick this season. Like you're full of picks. I mean, but you haven't done shit either, right?
Yeah.
So it's like, I mean, you've been really living off the Brooklyn Nets for like a few years now, and you haven't been able to do it. So, I mean, blow it up and figure out what you want to do. Get rid of a few players. Who cares if they start? But you'll get,
picks back.
Picks back. Yeah. Just keep playing the lottery roll.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, they could. I kind of poo-poo Indiana, and I probably shouldn't because they're still a decent basketball team.
And ahead of Boston.
No, they're behind Boston.
Oh, they're behind them?
Yeah, they've fallen down to 5. But it's not completely inconceivable that they could beat Boston in a 7-game series. So you've got this team with, like you said, a ton of draft picks and a ton of talent. And first round and out. And like I don't know. Do you just get rid of? Like I wonder what the right thing to do is if that happens. Do you get rid of everyone except for Kyrie and Jason Tatum, and try to get a third star and start over that way, or do you get rid of Kyrie and Jason Tatum and stay with these young guys and bring in 2 new stars? Like what?
Well, I think at this point you got to get rid of Kyrie because there's been some bumps on the road throughout the season, and he's always the first one to. His name is unfortunately the first one that always comes up, and he wanted out of Cleveland. He got that.
He does get treated like a quarterback a little bit.
A little bit.
When things go well, it's because of him. When things don't go well, it's because.
And don't get me wrong, Kyrie is an unbelievable basketball player, point guard, scorer. I mean, game-winning shot in the finals over Curry. There's no doubt he can play at an elite level, but kind of makes you wonder sometimes.
Yeah,
if,
somehow
if it's worth the baggage or not, and it seems like it's not worth it here.
Somehow it's not working in Boston the way we thought it would.
No, so Milwaukee, Toronto, we hardly talk about them. I feel like the national media hardly talks about them. They're not on TV that much.
Oh my God, you're so wrong.
Well, I don't watch ESPN. I watch NBA. I watch the NBA. I don't watch ESPN.
Milwaukee's on all the time.
Are they?
And they talk about Giannis all the time.
Well, because he's in the MVP race, rightfully so. They should talk about him.
Right. But, I mean, your comment about they don't talk about him and you don't see him on TV. I mean,
well, they talk about him, but I don't think they talk about
No, they don't talk about the team as a whole.
Yeah,
I'll agree with that.
That's what I meant.
It's the Giannis show for sure.
Right. And rightfully so, but I feel like they don't get enough credit. So out of those 2 teams, because I don't feel like we've talked about them too a lot throughout the season. Out of those 2 teams, who do you see coming out, or do you see either of them coming out of the East?
I think if they face off with Toronto, I think they'll beat the brakes off Toronto.
Really?
Yes, because they have a good, solid, complementary big 3. And they're not big 3 in the sense of names, but they're guys that are really balling out. Giannis, Bledsoe, and Middleton. And, the Greek Freak can do it in a bunch of different places. And Bledsoe's running the offense, and it works really well. And defensively, they're good. And I just don't see it from Toronto. Toronto still looks soft to me. If you go back and you look at how they've played this season, Toronto hasn't played great on the road.
No.
And so if they don't have home court throughout,
and it's
going to be a problem.
They've actually been playing a little poor here as of late too.
Yeah, they have not played great. Yes.
So they're really going into the playoffs with not a lot of momentum, and maybe
they ain't got no momentum.
Or maybe they're just, saving it. Maybe they're just like, this is... Yeah. We have the number 2 seed locked up pretty much.
Maybe. I'm trying to find their home and visiting record.
Now, the team that has a worse road record, well, most teams do, but they're specifically, notably bad on the road are the 76ers. They're really good at home, and then they lose some really bonehead games on the road.
Well, I guess it's not as bad as I thought. I mean, so Toronto's 32-9 at home, 25-15 on the road.
No, that's a good.
That's not bad.
That's a good road record.
Yeah, you're right. The Sixers 30-10 at home, 20-20 on the road.
Yeah.
Boston is the same way. Boston's obviously a little bit worse at home, 28-13, 20-20 on the road.
What about the Pacers?
The Pacers are 29-12 at home, 18-22 on the road.
Wow.
That's a big drop.
Yeah. That is. What about the Bucks? Well, the Bucks probably have.
27-14 on the road, 33-7 at home. So.
Man, that's. I wouldn't say the Bucks beat the brakes off the Raptors, but I think the Bucks come out of the East. I don't think that. No one's going to be able to hold.
I think
Giannis.
I think the Sixers will give them a serious run for their money. I'm not ready I'm not ready to crown the Bucks Eastern Conference champions. I want to kind of look into it a little bit more before we do a playoff preview next week. But, you know, they would not face the Sixers until the Eastern Conference Finals. Again, I think if Boston got right, they could give them a serious run for their money.
I don't know.
Milwaukee's a very good team. I just think they match up really well with Toronto, and I think they will not have a problem with Toronto.
Yeah, the one thing about the Sixers is I just feel they're not deep enough, and I almost dare to say they have too many scorers. Like, I just feel like Butler doesn't fit that system that well, and their bench is just not as deep. I think they lost a lot in trading for Jimmy.
What is Butler doing with that Karate Kid bandana?
They're all wearing it.
Are they all wearing it? I saw him wear it, but I didn't see the rest of them.
He rocked it for the first time on a Sunday afternoon game against the Thunder, I think. Like 2 months ago.
Why do they have uniforms in the NBA? Why don't they just let them wear whatever they want?
Yeah.
They look like... I've said this before. Some of them look like rodeo clowns. You know, they got the tights, the one-legged sleeve, the one-legged tights. I mean, they look like rodeo clowns. Seriously.
You can blame Allen Iverson for that.
Did he start that?
I'm sure he started the trend.
I don't know.
He started the trend.
But it's and now they've gone with the now you got Butler and gang with the Karate Kid bandana, which I think it looks silly.
Could you imagine? I mean, you piss off Jimmy Butler and he busts out the crane, and he's got that freaking headband on.
I bet you his trash talk is like, bro, I've been waxing on and waxing off. I will fuck you up.
So, you want to talk a little bit about the West, or you want to roll into some baseball?
The West is kind of boring to me.
Is it?
Well, I shouldn't say that. I like the West.
It's boring.
I'm very intrigued. Like there's another one where I want to get to the second round because I want to see Houston and Denver. Like that feels like a 7-game series, and I want to see it.
But the first round in the West is going to be a whole lot better than the East, because even the Clippers. Again, I'm not saying they're going to win, but the Clippers are a decent team, good enough to give whoever
the
a
Warriors.
5 or 6. Yeah, well, against the Warriors, maybe just 5 series.
They're tied with San Antonio, so they could move up to 7.
And then
and OKC's only half a game ahead, so they can move all the way up to 6.
Yeah, I mean, See, look, all those teams, the Jazz, the Thunder, the Clippers, and even the Spurs. Your bottom 4 teams, I think those series can go 6 games.
The only one that I think really gives any of the top 4 seeds a problem is Utah against Portland, the 4-5 matchup. Partially because Portland may not win a game in Utah. I mean, Portland's just terrible on the road. And
they don't have McCollum yet.
Yeah,
I don't know if he's supposed to come back, and then
there's issues there.
The big man, I forgot. He was his ankle was dangling off of his leg 2 weeks ago. So yeah, Portland could be in trouble.
Yeah, Portland
even with home court advantage.
That's going to be a tough one, but I don't see much of a problem. OKC may give Houston a bit of a run. Then I mean, the way I'm saying the way the matchups are right now, San Antonio is not giving anyone a run in those top 4, and I don't think the Clippers are really giving anyone a run for their money. I'm not saying they're all going to be sweeps, but 5 games, maybe it'll go 6, but even then, I'm just not. I'm ready for the second round because I think it'll be Golden State.
The top 4?
Yeah, it'll be the top 4, maybe Utah, Portland flip, right? So Golden State against one of, quite honestly, the only series I'm interested in watching in the second round would be that Denver-Houston series. That's going to be a great matchup.
Denver-Houston, yeah.
And then obviously the conference finals with Golden State and whoever wins that series.
I think any possibility of a series in the second round is going to be a good one. I just think the first round in the West is going to be entertaining. Like, yeah, the winners might be the first 4, but I think we're going to get way better series
See, I think
in the
that's
West.
part of the. I think that's part of the problem with.
And I'm cool with that.
That's part of the problem with the NBA playoffs for me, right? And this is I've been saying this for weeks. The first round to me is just a waste of time because the top 4 teams 95% of the time come through.
Right, yeah.
And the 4 or 5 sometimes flips, right? The 5 makes it instead of the 4. But when was the last time an 8 seed gave a 1 seed a run for their money?
Denver Nuggets and the Seattle Supersonics.
I mean, Dikembe Mutombo lying on the floor holding the basketball like he was going to, squeeze the crap out of it.
He probably could.
He probably could. I mean, you just don't see it. And that's what makes me feel like the first round is just a waste of time. I don't want to
I
see
agree, but this season, this postseason, I'm tuning in. It's gonna be. I think it's gonna be real entertaining.
I think 2 months from now, when the first round is over,
that's awesome.
We're gonna say, "Oh, look, the top 4 seeds made it." And then 2 months later, when the second round's over, we're gonna say, "Now that's when the playoffs really started."
Could be. We'll have to wait and see.
Better basketball player, Paul Pierce or Dwayne Wade?
Oh, Paul Pierce, the truth.
I like
kidding.
I like that he's still kind of bent out of shape. Like I think he feels slighted by the media. Like he feels like he does not he feels like they don't talk about him in the pantheon of greats like Shaq and Kobe and Charles Barkley, and he's like, I'm on TV just like Shaq and Barkley. Why am I not getting the same kind of love? I think he thinks it's almost an appearance type thing. Well, and he doesn't realize that people are looking at championships and numbers and whatnot. I think it's really close. People getting really mad about Paul Pierce saying this stuff, but I don't have a problem with it because I think it's really close. He's not trying to compare himself to Michael Jordan.
Like numbers are close, or you just think overall?
In terms of being a good a great basketball player, I think they're pretty close. So once they're close, the fact that he says that I'm better, well, that's just the confidence talking, and then I don't have a problem with it. Now, if he was LeVar Ball talking about he could take Michael Jordan. Well, that's not confidence. That's just stupidity, right? So to me, that's a dumb comment. But Paul Pierce, I think, as basketball players, him and Dwayne Wade, pretty close. The fact that he thinks he's better. I mean, if you ask Dwayne Wade, Dwayne Wade probably thinks he's better, right? Makes sense to me.
Yeah, I mean, Chris Paul, Paul Pierce. Let's not forget, man. For most of his career, he played with Antoine Walker. That's the only guy I can really remember. Walter McCarthy from Syracuse. I mean, he really didn't play with anybody.
Didn't have anything, yeah.
The guy got freaking stabbed one time in Boston. He's hit plenty of game winners while
he was
carrying the team. And
cold-blooded.
And then he gets, he gets Doc Rivers and Ray Allen and KG, and they're good for a few years. Get one championship out of it. You mentioned he's not getting the attention that Barkley and Shaq are getting. Barkley didn't win any championships either. And so he probably feels, and he's not outspoken as Shaq and Barkley is. He's not out there like that. So
he's on TV all the time.
Yeah, but his personality is not
the same.
Is not the same. So he's not out there. So I can see him trying to grab for attention and being compared to Dwayne Wade. You're being compared to a great.
Yeah.
You always he I'm sure he wants to be known that, or in this comparison he wants to be greater than Dwayne Wade. Yeah. I don't think he is. I think Dwayne Wade. I haven't looked at the numbers. I'll probably pull them up here in a little bit, but if I had to guess, Dwayne Wade has the better numbers.
No, yeah, but to be fair, also
and championships.
To be fair, also Dwayne Wade had Shaq for a few years, albeit an older Shaq, but he had Shaq for a while. He had LeBron James and Chris Bosh. He's had, I think, more to work with than Paul Pierce ever did, and
Yeah.
So that's part of the, that's part of the reason he feels slighted, I think.
Let me see. Who had the... Let me see.
Tell me what you find.
I mean, Wade, 22 points. Average.
Paul Pierce has to have more than that.
No, he doesn't actually.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
So Dwayne Wade has averaged 22 points. Okay, in the 17 seasons, 1.5 steals, 5.5 assists, and shot about
what do we got?
48%.
That's pretty good.
That is pretty good. I don't think Paul Pierce stats are that good, or up to that.
Well, let's see what Paul Pierce has
Paul
got.
Pierce averaged just under 20 a game.
Under 20?
Yeah, 19.7.
Wow.
Less than 1.5 steals a game, 3.5 assists a game. Shot 44% from the field in one more season.
18 seasons?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's a long time.
And he, a little bit of the shine got taken away when Isaiah Thomas, his video, in Boston. I think all that plays a part.
Yeah.
And you know what? I would kind of be upset too. As a competitor, I mean, Paul Pierce is not going to go down as a Mount Rushmore type of player.
Right.
But as a competitor, Paul Pierce is definitely up there. I would even say maybe top 50. Maybe. But, so, I mean...
Again, I don't have a problem with it because I don't think the gap between Dwayne Wade and Paul Pierce is so big as basketball players.
But it's not that... I just don't feel it's that close.
Right, but there's also something to be said with the players that he played with, right? Paul Pierce had no help.
But he did
for a long time.
Years.
Right, no, but he had zero help for a long time. Dwayne Wade had a lot of help for a long time, right? So we talk about 44% versus 48%. I mean, how many shots did Paul Pierce have to take because those schleps on his team weren't worth a damn? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So again, I don't have a problem with it because I don't think there's a gargantuan gap. So is Wade better? Maybe. But there's an argument to be made for Pierce, and for him to say it, that's just his own confidence coming through. It's not like he's saying he's better than Jordan. That would be silly.
I do think Wade was a better defender than Paul Pierce.
I think Pierce was an underrated defender.
You need to go watch some videos. My boy Joe Johnson, when he was with Brooklyn, put him on his ass.
Okay.
You need to... They got a compilation video. I'm like, wow, he sucked at defense.
I mean, I think he's underrated at defense. But anyway, I thought it was an interesting little fight back and forth this week in the media.
Yeah. What else you got? Some baseball.
A full week of baseball now.
A full week of baseball, and I still don't have a full head of hair.
No, you don't.
All right, I got to start off with this. The Orioles have a pitcher named David Hess. I've never freaking heard of the guy.
Right.
Okay, he's throwing a no-hitter, 8 strikeouts, 1 walk against Toronto. I don't care who it's against. It's still a no-hitter.
In one inning.
And the guy gets pulled. He pitches 6 1/3 innings. They are winning 5-0. Okay.
How many pitches?
How many? 82.
Oh my God.
82.
Is he normally a reliever?
Do you know what happens next?
Someone gives up a 5-run home run.
They bring in they bring in the bullpen.
Right.
3 pitchers combined to give up 5 runs. The Orioles, to their credit, end up winning the game, but they give up 5 runs. Why in the world?
Pitches.
I looked it up. 88 pitch or 88 or 82. I have a huge issue with the managers taking these pitchers out. I mean, I don't understand. That's a solid start.
That is the perfect example of why wins don't matter anymore.
Yeah.
For a pitcher.
Yeah.
Because, that right there is the perfect example. We had this argument last year with Jacob deGrom winning the Cy Young with 10 wins. This is the problem, right? The guy's throwing a no-hitter and he gets pulled. And we got to go to the bullpen. He's going 6 1/3. It's a quality start. Let's go to the bullpen.
It would be one thing if he had over 120 pitches, I'd say. I'd say 120.
Yeah.
82.
Look, if you're going for a no-hitter, you don't pull that guy until he hits 120.
Yeah.
I don't give a shit what inning it's in. The 6 1/3, 7 1/3, 8 1/3, 8 2/3. You don't pull him out until he's hit. You don't even think about pulling him out until he's hit 120.
You know what? I'm curious to see how old this guy is, because if he's young, you know, I mean, you got to feel a certain way, right? You want to go out there,
yeah,
and you know, try to compete or.
I mean, he's averaging 4.5 pitches an out.
He's fucking 25 years old.
At that
Let
point.
the kid throw. He didn't. I mean, he's not coming off Tommy John surgery.
He was at 4.6 pitches per out at that point, and I took 88, not 82.
Yeah.
Which, if you pull it out for a whole, you extrapolate it out for a whole game, be 125 pitches.
I mean,
Dude's on a path for a no hitter.
Yeah.
There's no need to do that. That's crazy.
I mean, if he was about to reach a milestone, like let's just say 300th win, or whatever the milestone.
Yeah, the milestone is going to be 200.
I mean, are you going to, well, whatever, 300 strikeouts? It doesn't matter.
Oh, you go to the bullpen.
Are you going to pull him?
Well, if it's wins, you go to the bullpen because that's what the sabermetrics say,
Right.
and you bring in 17 pitchers to throw 3 pitches each, and hope that you can hold on to a 5-4 win.
That is, I mean, this
even though you're up 5.
This is where I could really care less about your WAR, analytics. I don't care about none of that.
You know, I think you got to strike a balance at some point because doesn't it do something to the chemistry of a team? I mean, you're the Orioles. You've gotten off to a decent start. You've got a chance to do something that's really going to propel and provide momentum for your team for weeks to come, probably. And you could turn a season around. You know, I understand that the analytics and all that other stuff. I'm a big numbers guy myself. I love it, but it just seems like it's just too much, and that is just a terrible example of the use of analytics.
I believe they got swept this weekend
By the Yankees? I think so.
That's what happened. Karma.
You want to use that bullpen? We're going to give you a reason to use the bullpen. You know, another interesting stat line from the Orioles. Chris Davis. Chris Crush Davis.
Oh, from the A's?
No. This is the other Crush.
This is Orange Crush.
Orange Crush.
That's Yellow Crush.
This guy is 0 for 23 this season. Going back to last season, he is 0 for 44. He finished the season 0 for 21. And he's tacked on another 23 at-bats of no hits. You know, he struck out 10 times.
That's amazing.
In 23 at-bats. If those strikeouts were hits, he'd be leading the league in hitting.
So they had a thing on Twitter. What would happen if Trevor Rosenthal, the pitcher of the Cardinals, faced Chris Davis of the Orioles? Because Trevor Rosenthal has, you know, they're batting 1,000 against him. Like he hasn't gotten an out so far this season. That'd be interesting.
I'd love to see that. I mean, quite frankly, it's the only way to get one of them off the schneid.
You know, and really, you know, and I'm not trying to, you know, pile on the Orioles, but you know, you got this guy Chris Davis making a bunch of money, making well over $20 million a year. The guy hits under 200, but strikes out almost 200 times a season. You know, don't get me wrong. He's gotten seasons of 30 and 40 and 50 home runs.
But he's clearly past that.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
He is
Yeah.
very clearly on the other side of the mountain. I just don't. What I don't understand is, like, I understand. Look, you can't trade him, right? You're gonna have to pay him. I get it. Is there no one else that they could have put that they can put in at this point? Don't you just have him as a $20 million pinch hitter?
Yeah,
because I mean, he gets walks. People still walk him. I have no idea why, because apparently you can get him to chase balls and he swings and misses at an alarming rate.
Yeah,
I mean, don't they have? Isn't there someone else they can use?
I mean, you're doing an injustice to whoever's trying to make a roster spot.
If you're the first baseman at AAA, aren't you going?
And why don't you just buy his contract out? You're gonna pay it anyway. Why don't you just buy it out and free up a roster spot?
Yeah,
right?
I mean, it is beyond bizarre.
Or maybe he can be their hitting coach or something.
Well,
and then the
transfer
players
him to the front office,
and then the players can do the exact opposite of what he's teaching them.
Exactly. Hey, man, it's just amazing.
I don't understand.
On the flip side of that, you have the Dodgers, who are hitting everything.
That won't last, but
it might.
It won't, but they're on fire. Yes,
it might.
They're on.
Man, they are.
Well, they had help. They had help this weekend. I mean, come on, they played in Denver, bro.
Yeah, no, that's not it, because the Rockies didn't hit quite like they did. But I mean, that you look at that lineup and it's impressive, man.
Yeah.
Seager looks good.
Bellinger
looks great. Justin Turner looks great. I mean, those guys. Heck, even Kike Hernandez looks good.
Well, they're gonna have to score a lot of runs because I don't think their pitching is all that well.
No, it's not. But I mean, you put up 12, you're gonna win most games.
Yeah, but
you put up 12 every night, you're gonna win 95 games.
It's a 162 game season, so
yeah, no.
Even the Phillies have cooled off playing the Twins, and the Twins held them to 1 and 2 runs. So good pitching is always gonna dominate good hitting in my eyes. And
over the long run, that's certainly the expectation. But man, it looks dicey. I think they've scored. That Dodgers lineup.
I think so they're averaging like 8.2 runs a game so far. Jeez. The Phillies are not too far behind them, just under 8, I think.
Wow.
They put up a couple low-scoring games this weekend, but those are two teams. Then with the Phillies, once Rhys Hoskins and Realmuto start really hitting, that offense is going to be scary. But again, when you face good pitching and you got to do it, it's hard to stay hot throughout the whole season.
Yeah, no. I don't think they're going to score 8.2 runs a game all season long, but that lineup looks very impressive right now, and they're hammering people. So. Look, Chris Davis would kill to have one of those hits.
He won't kill with a baseball bat. He would need a gun.
He would swing and miss.
He'd need a gun to kill. Clearly, not with.
What else you got from baseball?
From baseball, the Braves, after getting swept against the Phillies, have now won 5 of 6. They're in the thick of things. Of course, that was against the Marlins and the Cubs. The Cubs really have struggled early.
And they're scoring runs. That's not the problem. The pitching is taking a beat, and I think Lester's now injured.
Lester got injured today.
Which is the only decent pitcher they had.
And so, Severino looks like he's not going to be...
He's out for a bit.
He's out for a bit, right?
Yeah, he threw off of a flat surface, and it did not go well. So
you got the Mets, who have Jason Vargas as a number 5. Hold on, right? As a number 5. You have a team like the Rays, who went out and got Charlie Morton. I don't know if he's hurt. I think he might be hurt a little bit. But when you look at their rotation, Blake Snell obviously stands out. But a team like them who are going for a bullpenning type of deal this season. And so all these teams that I just named, and no one puts a phone call to Dallas Keuchel. I mean, I don't want us to beat this dead horse, but
let me go ahead and beat this horse. How the hell is someone not signing that?
Yeah, and now that you're only a week in and you have teams with injuries, you have a team that doesn't have a good number 5 starter. As we get deeper, flies are gonna start to fall even more. When the heck do you put the Boston could use Dallas Keuchel? I mean, they've struggled out the
with
gate.
Boston, you would think that they'll eventually turn it around, right? They're off to a rough start, but they have decent pitching, right? They've got
the back end is not too good, you know.
Well, no, I think their rotation is pretty good. You're not going to spend that kind of money for a fifth starter, and sure, everyone needs a fifth starter, so that's kind of unfair. But you got a situation like the Cubs, where their pitching is just in pieces. And heck, the Phillies, how do they not put a call in?
Yeah, right? they could definitely use it.
With all
but
that, the Dodgers, how
I'll
could
say
they not
this:
put a call in?
if I was a Major League Baseball team, I hope the Mets don't. I would not fucking sign this guy at all. I would not sign him. He's gonna be disgruntled. He's gonna pitch. He's gonna want to pitch so good so that he can get that deal. I wouldn't touch this guy. I wouldn't touch him.
I wouldn't touch him either because I'd be afraid of how do you bring him into the rotation, right? Because look, I'm sure he's been working out on his own. I'm sure, great, fantastic, but it's not the same as going through spring training. And not to say that he needs a 30-game spring training like they do, but I'm sure. If you sign him now, you got to send him to the minor leagues for like a 2-week type of rehab assignment. Make sure he's good to go. Because if you just bring him onto the club, throw him out there every 5th day, he's gonna blow a ligament, and that's gonna be the end of that.
Well, I think I agree.
I'd be afraid of that.
But I would guess, I don't know, or I would bring him in slowly, right? Like 4 innings, 5 innings, and kind of let him.
What if he's pitching a no-hitter?
Yeah, he's staying in there. Screw that. Mr. Analytics gets thrown out the window.
I don't care that you signed the papers yesterday.
And look at a team like the Washington Nationals. Their bullpen has like a 10-point-something ERA. You think Kimbrel might not help a little bit? I mean, I don't know.
There's another guy.
I don't understand.
Everybody needs bullpen help. Are these guys asking for 10-figure contracts? Like, are they asking for $1 billion?
I'm sure.
Like, is Dallas Keuchel going, look, I know that Mike Trout guy is pretty good, but I think I'm better. I deserve at least $450 million.
But, I understand the Kimbrel deal not getting signed. He's a bullpen guy. He's going to give you 1 inning, that's all. Keuchel's a starter, okay? He's a starter. So, although I think the $20 million that he was...
Was he wanting $20 million?
Yeah. I think that's not a good number.
But I mean,
it's not my money, but I just think that's too much.
I mean, someone will get. Isn't someone going to offer him 12?
And what is he going to say? Is he going to say no?
Is he going to say no?
He's
like, I'm struggling to figure out who the bigger idiot is here. Is it the teams that are just letting this guy sit, or is it Dallas Keuchel that won't take anything less than $450 million? Like, I'm not sure who the bigger idiot is.
I don't know.
Because I haven't heard a whole lot about his demands. Some team with some common sense, talk to Dallas Keuchel, who needs to develop some common sense, and y'all get together and
get some common sense
and just make a common sense deal and move on down the road, and let's get this show on the road.
Yeah, I don't understand that at all.
Crazy. NCAA championship game kicks off in about 20 minutes. Who you got tonight?
Virginia.
If you are the man who put $1,500 down on a 200-1 bet for Texas Tech to win the national championship, do you hedge it tonight? Do you bet on Virginia to win some money? And if so, how much?
Yeah. I mean, you have to hedge. You have to.
So you could win your $1,500 bet could win you $300,000. How much do you put $150,000 on Virginia tonight and say I'm gonna at least win $150,000?
I mean, I gotta have it first, but
well, there's a site. It's called I want to say ProSwap, I think, where you can sell your ticket.
Yeah,
and so people have offered as much as he would not. I think someone offered him $125,000 and he did not sell it.
Yeah.
So would you have sold it for $125,000?
I would have sold it because I think Virginia's gonna win. Yeah, I would have sold it.
Interesting.
I would have sold it. Yeah, give me my money now. Why not?
Yeah,
I'm usually a all or nothing type of guy, but in this scenario,
would you have sold it Saturday before Michigan State? Did you think Texas Tech was going?
No, because I thought Michigan State would win. So yes, I would have sold it
Saturday.
Yeah.
Would you have sold it in the previous game when they beat Gonzaga? Was it Gonzaga that they beat? Yeah.
Yeah. Probably because I would have.
Would you have sold it the game before that
No.
when they were playing
No.
Michigan? You probably wouldn't have gotten much.
Yeah, but no.
But no.
But I wouldn't think about selling it at that far back.
That's
you know.
true.
I would,
there probably wouldn't be that many takers.
Yeah. And I was gonna say, let me get.
What if someone offered you $3,000 for it? You'd have made $1,500 before the Michigan game. Michigan was a 2 seed. They were a 3 seed.
10 grand would be the number.
10 grand.
10 grand would be the number.
Interesting.
Yep.
Interesting. I don't know. Even right now, I don't know what I would do. I like you. I think Virginia's going to win tonight. But, when you have two teams that play really good defense, if one team gets hot for just a little bit, right? Like if Texas Tech goes on a 8-0 run late in the first half, that could be it. Because it's hard to string 8 points together and catch back up. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's a little scary that it could just happen. And the one thing about Texas Tech that really scares me, they've got that Italian kid that it just reminds me of last year.
DiVincenzo.
Yeah, his name's not DiVincenzo, obviously, but it reminds me of that guy, and it makes me think
that could be scary.
It makes me think we're gonna have another Italian name just freaking go off.
That could be scary for Virginia.
Game. Yeah. So I don't know. Interesting stuff. But anyway, you got anything else?
That's it, man. That's it for podcast number 70.
Excellent. We've come to the end of another wonderful episode of the Positive Sports Podcast. If you want to get a hold of the show, you can email the show at positivesports10@gmail.com. positivesports10@gmail.com. If you want to get a hold of me and give me a hard time about my raspy voice and my coughing and hawking loogies during this podcast, you can reach me on Twitter at eMontana21. This guy next to me doesn't want to give out his Twitter handle, but I'll do it for him.
No.
Brooklyn Gaucho 1 if you want to nag him. But he'd rather you just go ahead and email the show.
Oh, you can nag me. I'll just, I'll nag you back.
There you go. You got a shout out?
Man, I'm shouting out Virginia and Texas Tech. The kids are playing in a national championship game. They're just kids. It's they're not getting paid, or maybe some of them are, but they're not getting paid. They're not making a salary. Playing basketball. I'm sure for most this is a sport that they're playing that they imagine themselves playing as a kid, and shout out to them for making it this far, and hopefully they give us a great game.
It's tough to win 6 games in a row against good competition, and that's what one of these teams will do tonight. My shout out goes to Ryan Shazier, the former Pittsburgh Steelers football player. He was injured, suffered a pretty serious neck and spine injury, and I saw him on ESPN this morning doing box jumps. What an amazing comeback for that guy. They thought he'd never walk again, and he is slowly but surely rehabilitating himself. He has said that he wants to make it all the way back to a football field in the NFL on Sunday. I think that's too far, but what this man has done has been very inspirational. He's taken a pretty serious injury, a pretty grim outlook that they had for him. The doctors did not expect him to even walk. And here he is. He's walking, he's running, he's working out, and he's doing box jumps. I can't do box jumps. He's just a tremendous inspiration, and it really shows you what the power of the mind can do. That guy is mentally stronger than most people are physically. So shout out to him. Keep getting better. I hope you make it back to an awesome NFL field on a Sunday one day. I would rather you not play because I wouldn't want to see you get injured again. But damn it, if that's your dream, if that's your passion, if that's what you want to do, then I hope you make it. And I will be cheering for you all the way, even though I am not a Steelers fan.
I would love to see him make it back to the field for just one play. You know,
Yeah.
have Pittsburgh put him in there as linebacker. One play is all you get.
Yeah.
And you know.
Yeah, and
That would be cool.
Have it be a very obvious pass play.
Yeah.
You know,
A Hail Mary. You just stay right
Yeah.
there. Let everybody
well, I mean, what would be the safest play for a linebacker?
a kneel down.
Put him in there for the kneel down. There you go. Put him behind Ben Roethlisberger, right? Because then it's a win also for the Steelers. That would be great.
Well, no, he can put it. No, he could play defense when Tom Brady's trying to kneel down and go and kneel forward.
And then he
You'll
comes
fucking sock
flying
him.
through the middle.
Yeah, like Troy Polamalu.
Anyway, good for you, Ryan Shazier. Keep on keeping on, brother. And as always, folks, ignore the negativity. Be the positivity.
Peace.